The marble lobby fell silent as the bank executives laughed at the woman in running clothes and a baseball cap. Sam Taylor stood calmly as they denied her ownership claim. "This bank isn't for sale to someone like you." The manager sneered with contempt. What they didn't know was that Sam's husband had already purchased it, and when he walked through those doors, their laughter would turn to shock. The morning sun cast long shadows across the quiet streets of Maplewood as Sam Taylor maintained her steady jogging pace. At 52, she still had the energy of someone decades younger, her auburn hair pulled back in a simple ponytail beneath her navy cap. The familiar weight of her water bottle bounced against her hip as she rounded the corner toward Lincoln Park. This daily ritual had been her sanctuary for years, long before she met Jonathan, long before their lives had changed so dramatically. To the neighbors who waved as she passed, she was just that nice Taylor woman who volunteered at the library and always remembered birthdays. Her breathing steady, Sam slowed as she approached the community bulletin board at the park entrance. A bright yellow notice caught her eye, forcing her to stop completely. Maplewood Community Bank closure notice. She pulled the paper closer, scanning the details with growing concern. 30 days. They're giving everyone just 30 days, she muttered, reading further about the acquisition by National Financial Group, a corporate giant known for shuttering local branches and eliminating personalized services. Sam thought about Mrs. Henderson, who at 87 still walked to the bank every Friday to deposit her small pension check, and the loan officer who had helped countless local businesses get their start. This bank wasn't just a building. It was the financial heartbeat of Maplewood. Her morning run forgotten, Sam pulled out her phone and dialed Jonathan. "It's me. Are you seeing this notice about Maplewood Community Bank?" She listened, her expression shifting from concern to thoughtful determination. "I know you're in meetings all day, but this is important. Remember what we discussed last month?" Another pause. "Exactly. I'm going to head over there now and see what's really happening. No need to change your schedule. I'll handle the preliminary conversation." Globe News Wire +1 banking news and analysis banking dive +1. Hanging up, Sam checked her watch. The bank would be opening in 20 minutes. She hadn't planned on visiting a financial institution in her running clothes, but this couldn't wait. Some things were more important than appearances. As she jogged toward the bank, memories flooded back of her own struggles before meeting Jonathan. The skeptical loan officers who wouldn't give her small bookstore a chance. The financial advisor who spoke to her like she was a child. The countless times she'd been dismissed because she didn't fit someone's image of success. That had been 15 years ago, before her bookstore had grown into a regional chain, before she'd met Jonathan Taylor at a publishing conference, before their partnership, both romantic and professional, had transformed their lives. But Sam had never forgotten what it felt like to be judged based on appearances. It was why, despite their considerable wealth, she still drove her old sedan, still shopped at the local farmer's market, still kept her morning runs through the neighborhood. It wasn't an act. It was who she was. Arriving at the bank's glass doors, Sam took a moment to catch her breath. Through the windows, she could see the staff setting up for the day, men and women in press suits arranging paperwork and preparing teller stations. They looked efficient, professional, and completely unaware that their corporate overseers were planning to eliminate their jobs within a month. Sam straightened her shoulders. She wasn't just here as Jonathan Taylor's wife. She was here as someone who understood the value of community, of personal connection, of treating people with dignity regardless of their account balance. The bank manager unlocked the door, eyeing Sam's athletic attire with barely disguised disapproval. With a deep breath, she stepped inside. The bank's interior was all polished marble and mahogany, designed to evoke a sense of tradition and stability. As Sam entered, the hushed conversations and clicking keyboards momentarily paused. Several employees glanced up, their expressions ranging from curiosity to dismissal when they saw her casual outfit. "Can I help you?" asked a young receptionist, her tone indicating she doubted she could. "Yes, I'd like to speak with the manager regarding the closure notice," Sam said, her voice confident despite being dressed in running clothes among suits and ties. The receptionist's professionally pleasant smile didn't reach her eyes. Do you have an appointment? No, but this is rather urgent. I see. The word dripped with skepticism. May I ask what this is concerning, specifically? Sam considered her response carefully. It's about a potential alternative to the planned closure. FDIC. This caught the receptionist's attention. She picked up her phone, whispering something Sam couldn't quite catch. After a brief conversation, she gestured toward a waiting area. MS. Kensington will be with you shortly. You could take a seat over there. Sam nodded her thanks and sat down, noticing how the leather chair seemed to emphasize her out-of-place attire. She caught snippets of whispered comments from nearby employees. Probably wants to complain about her mortgage. Like she could do anything about the closure. Shouldn't she be at the gym instead? She ignored them, focusing instead on the framed photographs lining the walls. Images of Maplewood through the decades, the bank prominently featured in many community celebrations. After 15 minutes, longer than necessary, Sam suspected, a tall blonde woman in an immaculate gray suit approached her. Her smile was practiced, her handshake brief. I'm Lauren Kensington, branch manager. I understand you have questions about our transition, she said, already turning to lead Sam toward a small office, clearly expecting little more than a complaint to dismiss. Actually, Sam replied calmly, I'm here to discuss a potential purchase. Lauren stopped mid-stride, her heels clicking sharply against the marble. Purchase? Yes. Of the bank. The manager let out a short, amused laugh. Ma'am, banks aren't like grocery stores. You can't just walk in and buy them. Especially not. Her eyes trailed over Sam's running attire with clear disdain. Especially not someone like me, Sam finished for her, keeping her voice level. Lauren offered a tight smile, recovering slightly. What I mean is, acquisitions are handled at the corporate level. National Financial Group has already initiated the purchase process. I'm aware, Sam said, but their offer isn't finalized yet. There's still an opportunity to present an alternative that better serves the people of Maplewood. By now, their conversation had begun to attract subtle attention. A few employees had shifted closer, pretending to sort files or clean surfaces while listening. Lauren's expression hardened. Perhaps you'd like to speak with one of our financial advisors about investment opportunities more suited to your situation. That won't be necessary, Sam said evenly. I'm here to discuss an offer for the entirety of Maplewood Community Bank. A snicker echoed from somewhere behind them. Lauren's amusement became open now. MS. Taylor, banking acquisitions involve millions of dollars, legal structures, regulatory approvals. Frankly, she gestured vaguely at Sam. You're not exactly projecting that caliber. You're making assumptions about my financial capacity based on my clothes, Sam observed without flinching. Look, Lauren said, tone dripping with condescension, I appreciate community passion, but this isn't a bake sale. This is a multi-million-dollar financial institution. Even more employees were now gathering nearby, watching like they were waiting for the punchline. A few exchanged smirks. One whispered, maybe she's crowdfunding. I don't need to make an appointment, Sam continued, and I don't need a financial advisor. What I need is for you to take my offer seriously. Lauren's professional mask cracked slightly. She gestured toward her office, muttering, fine. Let's talk privately. Inside the glass-walled office, Lauren positioned herself behind a large oak desk, a symbolic barrier. She didn't offer Sam a seat. We're very busy, she began coolly. National Financial Group is paying $12 million for this branch. Do you have that kind of capital? I believe the branch is worth more, Sam replied. I'm prepared to offer $15 million. Lauren blinked, then laughed outright. $15 million? And how exactly do you plan to fund that? A garage sale? A GoFundMe? Sam didn't smile. My husband and I have the funds. That earned more laughter from outside. Lauren looked out at her amused colleagues, then back at Sam with exaggerated patience. And what does your husband do? Financial literacy coaching. He's in finance, Sam answered. Oh, finance, Lauren repeated sarcastically. What is he? A credit counselor. Maybe he sells retirement plans at the flea market. Sam's jaw tightened slightly, but her voice remained steady. Actually, Let me stop you right there, Lauren said, rising from her chair. I've indulged this long enough. Jerry, she called toward the door. Please escort Miss Taylor out. She was just leaving. The security guard, a man in his 50s with kind eyes, hesitated but approached. Before Sam moved, she turned back to Lauren. Before I leave, I'd like the contact information for the Chief Acquisitions Officer at National Financial Group. Lauren sighed theatrically. If you insist on chasing fantasies, that would be Martin Grant. But I assure you, he has even less time for this sort of thing than I do. A new voice cut through the room. Is there a problem here? All heads turned. A man in an elegant charcoal gray suit had stepped forward, gold cufflinks gleaming in the sunlight. I'm Darren Chase, Regional Director, he said. What's going on? No problem, Lawrence said quickly. MS. Taylor was just leaving. She believes she can purchase our bank. Darren looked Sam up and down, a flicker of amusement on his lips. Is that so? Yes, Sam said, holding his gaze. Because this bank matters to this town. I'd rather see it remain independent than swallowed by a corporation that will close it within a year. And you've got, 15 million sitting around? Darren asked with a smirk. Actually, yes. That silenced the room momentarily before someone in the back muttered, check her running shoes. Might be stacks in there. Darren chuckled. Look, MS. Taylor, I get the community spirit. But banking isn't a lemonade stand. I know what banking is, Sam replied. And I also know you're about to make a big mistake if you think appearances define capability. Lawrence stepped in eagerly. I tried to schedule her properly, but she's clearly not interested in following protocol. Honestly, she doesn't belong here. That last comment triggered more laughter, but it quickly died when Darren shot a glare at the offenders. He turned back to Sam. Look, MS. Taylor, this sale is almost done. You're too late. Almost, Sam said, emphasizing the word. Jerry, Darren said, exasperated, please escort MS. Taylor. But then the lobby doors opened again. The laughter stopped. A tall man in a bespoke navy suit entered, each step confident, measured, and impossibly smooth. His presence commanded attention the moment he walked in. I hope I'm not interrupting, said Jonathan Taylor, his voice calm, deep, and unmistakably powerful. Sam remained composed, but the warmth in her eyes gave her away. You didn't have to come. Meetings ended early, he replied, walking to her side. The sound of his Italian leather shoes tapping on marble was the only noise in the room. Jonathan Taylor was no mystery. His face had been on the cover of Forbes, named one of the 30 most influential minds in global finance. The name alone carried boardroom power. The room now held its collective breath. Mr. Taylor, Darren stammered. It's an honor. Jonathan didn't take his hand. Instead, he looked at Lauren. I understand you've been speaking with my wife about acquiring this institution. Your wife? Lauren's voice cracked. Her eyes jumped between Sam's running clothes and Jonathan's $1,000 suit. Yes, Jonathan said, without missing a beat. She mentioned concerns about the bank's closure and thought we might offer a community-based alternative. Darren scrambled. Had we known, if MS. Taylor had mentioned, would have changed how you treated her? Jonathan asked. Lauren stepped forward, fake smile barely hanging on. There seems to have been a misunderstanding. Sam tilted her head. Of course. I was just told to consider a financial literacy course, and someone tried to throw me out. The room was quiet now. The same employees who had chuckled earlier were suddenly fascinated by their shoes, their fingernails, or the carpet pattern. Jonathan handed Darren a card. Our legal team will be in touch. I believe my wife mentioned an offer of $15 million. Darren took the card as if it might shatter in his hand. Yes, absolutely. Make it 14, Jonathan said. A $1 million discount for the charming welcome she received. Lauren's mouth opened, then closed again. I suggest, Jonathan added coldly, you all reflect on how you represent this institution. He offered Sam his arm. She placed her hand on it, but turned back to the employees. I didn't come here to prove anything, she said. Not about money or power. I came here for people like Mrs. Henderson, who's 87 and walks here every Friday. For Sam Torres, who got his restaurant loan here when no one else would listen. For everyone who relies on this place, not because it's big, but because it's theirs. She looked directly at the employees who'd mocked her earlier. They couldn't meet her eyes. You assumed I was less because of what I wore. But dignity doesn't come with a price tag. Respect isn't reserved for tailored suits. Lauren muttered, "Mrs. Taylor, we value customer service." "No," Sam said gently. "You value status. Until you realized I had wealth, I was beneath you." Darren stepped forward, hopeful. "Perhaps we can continue this discussion." "Our lawyers will be in touch," Jonathan said. "I suggest your board begin preparing for a change in ownership." They turned to leave. From behind the teller counter, a middle-aged woman stepped forward. "Mrs. Taylor," she said softly, "I'm Lisa Brennan. I've worked here 22 years. I just want you to know, not all of us feel that way." Sam smiled. "I believe you, Ms. Brennan. And that's exactly why this bank is worth saving." As the Taylors exited, the staff parted like water, leaving a stunned silence in their wake. Jonathan leaned closer to his wife, his voice low. "So much for a peaceful jog." Sam squeezed his arm. "You know, I never could walk away from injustice." Outside, beneath the clear sky of Maplewood, the sound of change had already begun to echo.